My child, listen carefully. This is your final sign. There will be no more warnings after this. If you are hearing my voice right now, it is not by accident. I arranged this moment before you ever took your first breath. You asked me for a sign, and I am answering you now. Time is running out faster than you realize. Do not scroll away. Do not delay. Act now, because what you choose after this moment will shape the direction of your life in ways you cannot yet see. I am speaking to you as your Savior, as the one who formed you, as the one who has watched every tear fall from your eyes. I have sent signs before. I have whispered in your spirit. I have closed doors that would have destroyed you. I have delayed plans that would have wounded you deeply. I have stirred discomfort in your heart when you were walking in the wrong direction. But you called it coincidence. You called it bad timing. You called it confusion. It was me. I sent people to warn you gently. I allowed certain relationships to fall apart because they were draining your destiny. I stirred restlessness in your spirit when you were settling for less than what I designed for you. I nudged you in prayer. I spoke through sermons. I spoke through dreams. I spoke through sudden conviction that gripped your heart when you were about to make the wrong decision. Yet you hesitated. You delayed. You told yourself later. My child, this is not later. This is now. You stand at a divine intersection. The path before you splits in two directions. One leads to alignment with my will, peace, clarity, and supernatural acceleration. The other leads to delay, repetition of cycles, and lessons that will be much harder the second time. I do not threaten you. I love you. What love must speak truth. You have felt it lately, haven't you? A sense of urgency in your chest. That feeling that something must change. That quiet fear that if you continue ignoring what you know in your spirit, you may lose something precious. That is not anxiety. That is conviction. That is me calling you back before the door closes. There is a battle happening around you that you cannot fully see. Distractions have been carefully positioned in your life. Opportunities that look harmless but are meant to pull you off course. People who do not mean to harm you but who carry confusion into your atmosphere. The enemy knows that if he can delay you now, he can postpone what I am preparing to release over you. He cannot destroy what I have ordained, but he can distract you long enough to make you miss the timing. Timing matters, my child. There are seasons in life that do not repeat easily. There are divine windows that open quietly and close without announcement. I have kept this window open for you because of my mercy. But mercy does not erase responsibility. You must choose. You have been praying for breakthrough. You have asked me to change your situation. You have cried out for clarity. But when I began removing what was holding you back, you resisted. When I asked you to let go of certain habits, you justified them. When I asked you to forgive, you held on to hurt. When I asked you to step out in faith, you waited for perfect comfort. My child, obedience is not comfortable. It is courageous. If you ignore this message, nothing dramatic may happen tomorrow. Life may continue. But slowly, subtly, dryness will settle into your spirit. Peace will become harder to find. You will feel stuck in cycles you thought you escaped. And you will remember this moment. You will remember that I called you clearly. I am not speaking this to frighten you. I am rescuing you from regret. If you act now, if you surrender fully, if you obey without delay, you will see immediate shifts. Chains that have held you for years will begin to weaken. Confusion will lift. Strength will return. Doors that seem permanently shut will begin to open in unexpected ways. Protection will surround you in ways you cannot explain. Acceleration will replace stagnation. But you must move. Cut off what I have been asking you to cut off. Return to prayer with sincerity, not routine. Remove pride from your decisions. Stop negotiating with what I clearly told you to release. Stop revisiting what I delivered you from. Stop entertaining thoughts that contradict my promises over you. This is your final sign because I will not force you. I honor your free will. But understand this, choices carry weight. And the weight of this choice is heavier than you realize. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not disqualified. That is why I am still speaking. If I had given up on you, there would be silence. But there is urgency instead. A urgency is mercy. Time is moving quickly. Opportunities are aligning. Spiritual battles are intensifying. And I need you spiritually awake, not spiritually distracted. Say, I rest deeply in your promises if you're clinging to every word he has spoken. Do not wait for another confirmation. Do not ask for another sign. This is it. I love you deeply. I desire your freedom. I desire your peace. I desire your destiny to unfold without unnecessary delay. But I will not drag you across the finish line. You must rise. Right now, in this very moment, choose alignment. Whisper a surrender in your heart. Make the decision you have been avoiding. Send the message you have been postponing. End the compromise you have been tolerating. Begin the obedience you have been delaying. Act now, my child. Because this is the final sign. My child, this is not random. This is not an ordinary moment passing through the stream of your day. I am not speaking to you by accident, and you are not listening by chance. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, before your first breath filled your lungs, before your name was spoken on the earth, I saw this exact moment. I saw the path you would walk. I saw the confusion you would face. I saw the crossroads you would approach. And I marked this day in eternity as a divine interruption. You may think you found this message. The truth is, I brought you here. There are no coincidences in my kingdom. I do not operate by randomness. Every detail of your life has been known to me from the beginning. Every tear you have shed, every silent prayer whispered into the darkness, every restless night when your heart could not settle, I was there. And not only was I there, I was preparing this moment. Heaven paused for this. Do you understand what I am telling you? In the unseen realm, where eternity does not rush and time does not decay, this moment was written into the fabric of your story. Long before you felt lost. Long before you questioned my nearness. Long before you doubted your purpose. I already knew there would come a point where you would need a clear interruption, not a gentle nudge, not a quiet whisper, but a direct voice breaking through the noise. And here it is. You have been warned before, my child. Not in anger, not in punishment, but in love. I have sent subtle signals. I have stirred discomfort in your spirit when you were about to make choices that would wound you deeply. I allowed certain plans to fall apart, even when you begged me to hold them together. I removed people from your life that you thought were essential. I let some opportunities slip through your fingers, not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I was protecting you from consequences you could not yet see. You remember those moments, don't you? That inner hesitation you could not explain. That voice inside you that said, wait. That heaviness that settled in your chest when you were about to step into something that looked right but felt wrong. That was me. I was warning you gently. I was redirecting you quietly. I was shielding you patiently. But you have also ignored some of those warnings. You convinced yourself it was fear. You told yourself you were overthinking. You listened to the voices of others over the whisper in your own spirit. You chose comfort over obedience. You chose delay over surrender. And still, I did not abandon you. Instead, I prepared a stronger interruption. This is that interruption. My child, I need you to understand something deeply. I do not speak urgently without reason. I am patient. I am merciful. I am slow to anger and rich in love. But there are moments in your life that carry weight beyond what you can measure. There are crossroads that determine not just your next week, but the direction of entire seasons. There are decisions that echo far into your future. You are standing in one of those moments now. You feel it, even if you cannot fully explain it. There has been a stirring inside you lately, a sense that something must change. The realization that you cannot keep repeating the same patterns and expect different outcomes. A quiet awareness that the time for half-hearted commitment has ended. That stirring is not anxiety. It is alignment calling you back. This moment was written before your birth. When I formed you, I placed purpose within you. I designed your gifts. I mapped your journey. I knew the challenges you would face. I knew the temptations that would try to pull you away from your calling. I knew the wounds that would make you question your worth. And I also knew the exact points where I would step in more forcefully to redirect you. This is one of those points. In heaven, there is no confusion about your destiny. There is no doubt about your assignment. The angels assigned to guard you have seen the battles you survived. They have watched as you stood on the edge of decisions that could have altered your path completely. They have witnessed my mercy protecting you when you did not even realize you were in danger. Heaven hath been attentive to your journey. And today, heaven pauses not because I am uncertain, but because this choice matters. I am not trying to frighten you. I am awakening you. There is a difference. Fear paralyzes. Awakening empowers. I am calling you out of spiritual sleep. You have grown comfortable in certain compromises. You have tolerated things I have already asked you to release. You have postponed obedience because it felt inconvenient. But destiny does not wait forever. I have been patient. I have been gentle. But now I am clear. This is not random. The fact that you are hearing these words at this specific time is not coincidence. I orchestrated it. I aligned circumstances. I guided your steps. I allowed your questions to intensify so that your heart would be open enough to receive this interruption. Because if I had spoken this strongly a year ago, you would not have been ready to listen. If I had confronted you directly months ago, you would have dismissed it. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and strengthening your devotion to God. If you would like to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. But now, You are aware that something is shifting. You sense the urgency. You feel the narrowing of time. And that awareness is evidence that I have been preparing you quietly for this moment. You have been warned before through closed doors, through inner unrest, through repeated cycles that left you exhausted, through prayers that seemed unanswered but were actually redirected. I was speaking each time. I was guiding each time. And still, you are here. That is mercy. Do you know how many times I protected you from outcomes you never saw? How many times I blocked something that would have entangled you in deeper confusion? How many times I delayed a connection that would have drained your peace? You see only what happened. You do not see what did not happen because I intervene. This interruption is protection. I am stepping into your routine because the path you are about to choose requires clarity. You cannot move forward half-asleep. You cannot drift into the next season casually. What lies ahead demands awareness. It demands surrender. It demands immediate obedience. Heaven is not panicking, but heaven is attentive. I am not desperate, but I am intentional. This is the divine interruption that separates wandering from alignment. This is the moment that distinguishes delay from destiny. I am speaking now because if I remain silent, you might mistake my patience for approval. And my silence does not mean agreement. My child, I love you too deeply to let you continue drifting. I did not create you to live beneath your calling. I did not design you to carry unnecessary burdens. I did not form you to repeat lessons you were meant to graduate from already. This interruption is not punishment. It is positioning. Everything in your life has led to this point. The pain refined you. The confusion humbled you. The waiting matured you. The disappointments stripped away illusions. Even your mistakes taught you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. And now, here you stand. The reason this is not random is because I have been weaving your story with precision. The delays were preparation. The warnings were mercy. The restlessness was revelation. The closed doors were protection. And this interruption is invitation. Heaven pauses because what you choose next carries weight. I am not asking you to be perfect. I am asking you to be willing. I am not demanding performance. I am calling for surrender. I am not looking for fear-driven obedience. I am seeking trust-filled action. Listen carefully. You were not born for average living. You were not created to drift with culture. You were not designed to compromise your calling for temporary comfort. I placed eternity in your heart. I placed purpose in your spirit. I placed discernment within you. This moment is the activation of that purpose. It is not random that you feel conviction rising stronger than before. It is not random that old habits no longer satisfy you. It is not random that certain relationships feel misaligned. It is not random that you sense time moving faster. I am drawing a clear line. You can continue as you have, comfortable but stagnant. Or you can step into alignment, uncomfortable but alive. This interruption is love. This interruption is mercy. This interruption was written before you were born. And heaven is watching not to judge you, but to witness your response. Choose wisely, my child. My child, let us walk gently through what you already know deep within your spirit. Let us speak honestly about the signs you ignored, not to shame you, not to condemn you, but to awaken you. I do not bring these things before you to accuse you. I bring them before you to show you how faithfully I have pursued you, even when you were not paying attention. You remember the subtle nudges, don't you? Those moments when you were about to say yes to something, and a quiet hesitation rose inside your chest. It was not loud. It did not shout. It was just a small pause, a gentle restraint, a whisper that said, "Wait." But because it was not dramatic, because it did not shake the ground beneath your feet, you dismissed it. You told yourself you were overthinking. You convinced yourself it was fear. You reasoned your way past my whisper. That whisper was me. I do not always thunder. I do not always disrupt with lightning. Often, I guide with gentleness. I speak in impressions. I stir your spirit. I place a check in your heart. I let peace withdraw when you are stepping in the wrong direction. Those subtle nudges were protection. They were mercy guiding you away from consequences you could not yet see. But you grew accustomed to overriding them. The first time you ignored that nudge, you felt the discomfort clearly. The second time, it felt weaker. By the third time, you learned how to silence it quickly. Not because I stopped speaking, but because you stopped listening. And each time you overruled my quiet leading, you trained your heart to trust your own logic more than my direction. Still, I did not abandon you. There were delayed answers that frustrated you deeply. You prayed for immediate clarity. You asked for doors to open quickly. You wanted resolution now. But I withheld the answer. I allowed the silence. I let time stretch longer than you were comfortable with. You thought I was ignoring you. You wondered if I had forgotten your request. You questioned whether your prayers even mattered. But my delay was protection. You were asking for something before you were ready to carry it. You were seeking relationships that would have distracted you from growth. You were pursuing opportunities that would have looked successful on the outside but would have drained you on the inside. If I had answered you immediately, you would have walked straight into seasons of confusion. So I delayed. Not because I was cruel, not because I was distant, but because I was guarding your future. Yet in your impatience, you sometimes tried to force open what I was keeping closed. You pushed against the delay. You searched for alternative routes. You settled for substitutes. And when those substitutes disappointed you, you asked me why it happened. My child, I was trying to slow you down. There were closed doors that hurt you deeply. Doors you knocked on with hope. Doors you prayed over. Doors you fasted for. When they shut, you felt rejected. You took it personally. You questioned your worth. You wondered if you were not good enough. But those closed doors were not rejection. They were redirection. I saw what was behind those doors. You saw opportunity. I saw exhaustion. You saw love. I saw a compromise. You saw success. I saw spiritual drift. And because I love you too much to let you walk blindly into harm, I closed them. I know how painful it felt. I know you cried. I know you asked, "Why, Lord?" But I also know what you were spared from. There are battles you never fought because I closed that door. There are wounds you never carried because I blocked that path. There are regrets you never experienced because I intervened quietly. Closed doors were my mercy. And there was inner conviction. Not guilt. Not shame. Invidium. The deep knowing when something in your life was misaligned. That quiet awareness when you were entertaining habits, conversations, or relationships that did not reflect who I called you to be. No one else may have known. On the outside, everything looked acceptable. But inside, there was a stirring, a discomfort, a sense that you were settling for less than your calling. You tried to silence it. You distracted yourself. You justified it. You compared yourself to others and told yourself, it's not that bad. But conviction is not about comparison. It is about alignment. I was calling you higher. I was refining you. I was inviting you into deeper maturity. Conviction is evidence that I am near. If I were far from you, you would feel nothing. If I had given up on you, you would drift comfortably. The very discomfort you felt was proof of my involvement. I was shaping you. I was preparing you. I was strengthening your discernment. And then there were the dreams and disturbances. The nights when your sleep was restless. The repeated images that lingered in your mind. The unusual sense that something needed to shift. The feeling that you were outgrowing certain spaces. The tension you felt when you walked into environments that once felt normal. You called it stress, but often it was revelation. I was allowing your spirit to become unsettled in places that were no longer meant for you. I was stirring dissatisfaction so you would not grow roots in temporary ground. I was giving you glimpses through dreams, through intuition, through unexplainable restlessness. You felt it most clearly when you were alone. When the noise faded, when distractions quieted. In those moments, truth rose to the surface. You knew what needed to change. You knew what conversation needed to happen. You knew what habit needed to be broken. You knew what decision you were avoiding. But avoidance feels easier in the moment than obedience. So you delayed. And still, I remained patient. Comment, you are my guiding light. Jesus, if he led you out of the darkest night. Understand this, my child. Every sign you ignored was not wasted. Every nudge, every delay, every closed door, every conviction, every restless night, they were layers of mercy. They were evidence that I have been actively involved in your life, even when you doubted my nearness. I did not shout immediately because I value relationship over force. I wanted you to respond freely, not under pressure. I wanted your obedience to be rooted in trust, not fear. But the signs have increased because the stakes have increased. You are not in the same spiritual place you were years ago. You are more aware now. You are more responsible now. You understand more now. And with greater understanding comes greater accountability. The subtle nudges have grown stronger because I am drawing a clearer line. The delays have felt heavy because timing matters more. The closed doors have been more definitive because the path must narrow. The conviction has intensified because compromise can no longer coexist with calling. And the disturbances you feel lately, it is alignment approaching. I am not reminding you of what you ignored to condemn you. I am showing you how persistent my love has been. I have not stopped speaking. I have not stopped guiding. I have not stopped protecting. But now, the time for subtlety is closing. You cannot continue overriding conviction and expect peace to remain. You cannot keep forcing open doors and expect stability. You cannot silence my nudges and expect clarity. This is not punishment. It is maturation. You are being called into deeper obedience, deeper surrender, deeper awareness. The signs you ignored were training. They were preparation. They were gentle lessons teaching you how to recognize my voice. Now you recognize it clearly. When you feel that pause in your spirit, that is me. When peace withdraws, that is me. When restlessness rises in a place that once felt comfortable, that is me. When answers delay and you sense you are being slowed down intentionally, that is me. I have always been speaking, and the fact that you are hearing me now means you are still within the reach of mercy. Do not ignore this stronger interruption. Learn from the subtle ones. Let the delays teach you trust. Let the closed doors teach you surrender. Let conviction teach you alignment. Let the dreams and disturbances teach you discernment. I have been faithful to guide you. Now be faithful enough to listen. My child, listen closely now, because what I am about to speak carries weight beyond what your natural mind can measure. The air around you feels different lately, doesn't it? There is a tension you cannot fully explain, a sense that something is accelerating, a quiet pressure building beneath the surface of your days. This is not random emotion. This is not imagination. This is spiritual urgency. Time is short. I do not say this to frighten you, but to awaken you. You measure time by clocks and calendars. I measure time by seasons and assignments. There are divine windows in your life, sacred openings where obedience produces swift alignment, where surrender releases acceleration, where one decision shifts an entire season. You are standing in one of those windows now, and it will not remain open forever. You have believed there is always more time to change, more time to forgive, more time to step out in faith, more time to release what I asked you to let go of. But listen carefully. Delay feels harmless in the beginning. It whispers, tomorrow. It comforts you with the illusion that you can respond later. But spiritual opportunities are not permanent fixtures. They are invitations, and invitations can expire. The window is closing, my child. Not because I delight in pressure, but because seasons shift. What I am calling you into now is connected to what I am preparing ahead. If you hesitate too long, you will not lose my love, but you may miss the fullness of this timing. There is a difference between being loved and being aligned. My love is constant. Alignment requires response. You feel the narrowing, don't you? The sense that certain compromises no longer sit comfortably in your spirit. The awareness that habits you once justified now feel heavy. The realization that you cannot continue walking halfway between obedience and comfort. A discomfort is not condemnation. It is urgency. Time is short for this decision. There are patterns in your life that were meant to end already. Cycles you were supposed to break last season. Conversations you were meant to have months ago. Boundaries you were supposed to establish. Steps of faith you were called to take, but you postponed them. Delay has consequences, not because I punish you for hesitation, but because spiritual stagnation carries weight. When you delay obedience, you prolong struggle. When you ignore conviction, you extend confusion. When you resist surrender, you intensify internal conflict. The consequences are not always immediate or dramatic. They are subtle. Peace becomes harder to find. Clarity feels distant. Motivation weakens. Joy fades. This is not because I left you. It is because alignment was waiting. Mercy has limits, not limits to my love, but limits to seasons. I am merciful beyond your understanding. I have covered you more times than you realize. I have extended grace when you were careless. I have shielded you when you ignored warnings. I have softened consequences that could have been severe. But mercy does not cancel responsibility forever. There comes a point when gentle reminders become firm instructions. There comes a moment when whisper becomes declaration. There comes a season when patience shifts into urgency. You are in that season. Do not misunderstand me. I am not withdrawing my kindness. I am intensifying my clarity. Because the cost of delay has grown heavier. What is ahead of you requires readiness. It requires spiritual alertness. It requires decisiveness. If you remain passive now, you will enter the next season unprepared. And unpreparedness leads to avoidable battles. Time is short not in the sense of panic, but in the sense of precision. You cannot afford to drift. You cannot afford to entertain what weakens you. You cannot afford to keep one foot in obedience and one foot in compromise. The spiritual climate around you is shifting. Distractions are multiplying. Temptations are subtle. Comfort is seductive. And delay is dangerous. Every time you say later, you strengthen hesitation. Every time you override conviction, you dull discernment. Every time you postpone surrender, you train your heart to resist alignment. And over time, resistance hardens. I do not want your heart hardened. That is why I speak urgently now. The window is closing on certain patterns. The grace that once covered immature compromise will not feel the same moving forward. The tolerance you sensed before will feel replaced with discomfort. Not because I am angry, but because you are being called higher. You are not the same believer you were years ago. You know more now. You have experienced more. You have survived battles that matured you. With greater maturity comes greater expectation. I cannot treat you like you are unaware when you clearly recognize my voice. You know what I have been asking of you. You know what you have been avoiding. You know what needs to change. The spiritual urgency you feel is not external pressure. It is internal conviction rising to the surface. I am tightening the boundaries around your calling because your destiny is not casual. It is intentional. And intention demands focus. If you continue delaying, consequences will unfold not as punishment, but as natural results. Opportunities will pass to others who were ready. Doors will not remain open indefinitely. Strength you once had will feel drained by repeated cycles. Delay multiplies effort. The longer you postpone obedience, the harder the next step feels. The longer you tolerate compromise, the more entangled you become. The longer you resist surrender, the more exhausting your internal battle grows. You were not created to live in constant internal conflict. Time is short for this decision because what follows requires clarity. I'm aligning resources. I am positioning people. I am orchestrating circumstances. But alignment requires your cooperation. I will not force you forward. I invite you. Mercy has limits in seasons, not in love. If you ignore this urgency, life will continue. The sun will rise tomorrow. You will go about your routine. But spiritually, momentum will slow. And the effort required later will be heavier than the surrender required now. I am trying to spare you from compounded difficulty. The window is closing on partial obedience. You cannot carry both comfort and calling into the next season. Something must be laid down. Something must be cut off. Something must be surrendered fully. You feel it. You sense the narrowing. You recognize the weight of this moment. That recognition is mercy itself. If I were silent, that would be more dangerous. If I stopped convicting you, that would be alarming. If compromise felt completely comfortable, that would signal distance. But the urgency you feel proves my nearness. I am not running out of patience. I am activating purpose. Do not mistake urgency for rejection. It is invitation intensified. It is grace accelerated. It is love refusing to let you drift further from alignment. Time is short for wandering. Time is short for hesitation. Time is short for excuses. Type I trust even in your silence, Lord, if you're waiting for unseen answers. And share this video.